Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of yourself that don't have wackadoodle hair like me. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. If you would like to work with me in any way, shape, or form, I would love for you to go check out that drop box below. In that drop box is all the ways that you may connect with me, either through email, for coaching, for emergency coaching, my other YouTube channel, Kimberly's Other Life, TikTok, Instagram, Clapper. I'm all over. If you're new, how you doing? I'm Kimberly, and yes, I am always like this, and I'm obsessed with getting what I want. And I'm assuming you are too. And I'm obsessed with manifestation. I'm also assuming you are too. And if so, I would love for you to subscribe and come back and see me. Please hit that subscribe button. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. Today, I want to discuss two things that came up in different calls today. As per usual, there's usually always a common theme in my calls. And today there were two messages that came in, and one of them, this is the juicy one, is things changed rapidly to our HBIC's benefit, but reality changed rapidly. The second theme, or the second item I want to discuss, is not assuming the 3D is flipping on its head in front of you in a negative way. So we're going to jump into that today. First and foremost, so in specifically one of my calls today, we had someone they're manifesting something that includes a specific person, obviously. And, in their scenario, they had been manifesting this for a little bit and getting frustrated because it seemed rather quiet in their 3D. They had a few coaching calls with me where I reminded them, like, listen, just because we don't see anything in the 3D, just because it might feel or appear like there's no movement, something is happening. There are things happening out of there. We had a coaching call planned. She was thinking about what she was going to discuss with me. And next thing you know, literally all in the same day, things started rapidly changing. Significant movement came. Significant. Now, in the midst of this movement, initially it appeared like, well, this isn't what I wanted. This is not how I want things to go. She initially started feeding into that. It did not appear well at all. She remembered, okay, whoa. I need to return to my decision. I need to return to my decision, who I'm choosing to be, which is the theme of my channel, right? This is what I tell you to do in multiple videos here. When you want to experience what you want in reality, the idea is for you to become aware of being that version of yourself, the version of yourself that has the desire. Maybe it would be helpful if you looked at it as in the alter ego, the other you that's already inside of you that you are stepping into. It doesn't matter how you think of how you're being new self, just as long as that's where your focus is going, on being the you that has the desire. Okay? So that came into her mind, like, all right, what am I doing? I'm feeding into this old crap. Let me return to my decision. She returns to her decision, and 3D rapidly changes. Rapidly to her benefit. Really looks like things are unfolding to her benefit. In other words, what did she do there? Where most people who don't end up manifesting what they want and give up, what she did differently was, even though her mind threw her some negative, doubtful thoughts, she became aware that her mind was taking her in that direction and that she had to remind herself of who she was choosing to be, aka she needed to bring her awareness back. And that's what she did. She made a decision in the midst of what was appearing as a negative circumstance and things changed rapidly. And I will tell you, the theme, a lot of my coaching calls throughout today and yesterday were people facing what initially appeared as movement, really good movement. Then it would appear as if the movement was looking like it was shit. And multiple HBICs, this was multiple coaching calls. HBICs, my clients, in the moment, starting to get sucked in to the circumstance like their old self would. In other words, how they were handling it, how they were responding to it, where their mind was taking them. And all of them snapped back into awareness and reminded themselves, all right, what am I doing? What am I doing? What if this is a part of the unfolding? What if I need to return to my decision? And they all came about it in their own way, but they all ended up, in summary, returning back to the decision and not allowing the 3D to fool them. And in their circumstances, they ended up flipping around and definitely being beneficial to them. I'm trying to keep it without giving away their details until we have permission to share their full stories. So that's my point. And for me, it's not shocking to me that was their experience. It's also not shocking to me when I have very similar calls back to back to back like that, because they're reflecting me, right? They're reflecting my thoughts, and my coaching calls tend to reflect each other throughout my day. I'm not saying there won't be one or two here and there that are different, but there usually is a running common theme. I've said this before in my videos, but people facing initial movement that's appearing a little, oh, this isn't exactly what I wanted. It's movement, but it's not what I wanted. Oh no, let's get sucked into it. But they caught themselves and they brought their awareness back to who they want to be. And I cannot stress to you, I've said this so many times and I mean it. Not only was that amazing evidence for them that state shifts are instant. State shifts are instant. So when they first experienced what they were, you know, what they were labeling as movement, they were viewing it from new self. When their movement appeared to be, oh God, this isn't what I wanted. Who were they? Well, they instantly went to that version of themselves. Two different versions. Are you hearing that? Two different versions of self in a matter of seconds or minutes. They become aware that they're viewing it through a limited view, and they return back to their decision. Back, right? So now we're into a third state shift, and reality reflected. The state shifts are instant. They are instant. So in other words, the circumstances, the movement, really initially didn't change in their face, but they unfolded to change with that person's decision of who they were being, their identity. So the nugget I'd like you to take away from that message is, when you're facing anything in the 3D, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm saying that if you are fucking determined to have your desire, if you are determined to get what you want, then I greatly, greatly suggest that when you think you're facing an unfavorable circumstance or a circumstance that might appear like it's not what you want, it's not going your way, remind yourself of who you are and don't get fooled by that shit circumstance. Don't be fooled by it. Even shitty circumstances are leading you to your outcome. But we can get so entangled into our logical mind that we can forget that. I'm reminding you, at the end of the day, you return to that decision no matter what, and you will get your outcome. You will. And listen, give yourself the credit, give yourself the recognition when you handle circumstances differently than you would as your old self. Meaning, I had a call the other night with someone that initially thought they had amazing movement. It appeared to then look unfavorable, but this Hbic decided this time I'm doing something different. My old self would see this circumstance, what appeared as initially amazing movement that then didn't look like amazing movement. It reminded this person that, oh my God, I still have this pattern then. Because here we are again. It's ending the same way, same pattern. And instead, they chose to handle it differently than they would in the past. Again, I'm trying to keep their information private. I was the one that had to point out to her, like, can't you see you did something different here? Can't you see you handled that circumstance differently? Don't you see? There's your evidence that you are your new self. Now keep returning to it, and reality will reflect. You got to reward yourselves for those moments, especially if you're someone that would be instantly upset or triggered by circumstance in the 3D. Or what if something appears to you like, oh my God, you still have that pattern. Here we go. Let's say with an SP manifestation, here's SP doing the same thing that I can't stand, doing it again to me. Let's make something up. We'll say leaving you on red. Here we go again. All right, we could respond to it that way. We're not bad manifestors for having a response, but is that how you always handle it? Is that what you always do? The here we go again? Let's do something different. Let's decide this time it doesn't actually matter. It's a text message. It doesn't matter. Maybe you can unsend the message that was left on red. Let's unsend it. There. You're not left on red. You left that person on red. I mean, we're splitting hairs here, but do you see what I mean? It's still something different. When you start to reason with yourself in a beneficial way, instead of getting so caught up in the circumstances and trying to figure out why they're here and what they're reflecting and what are we doing wrong now. Now I'm talking to the people that you already are aware of what your old limiting beliefs are. We don't need to keep going back and reminding ourselves that we've had limiting beliefs. Let's keep the focus on who we want to be, okay? Instead of looking at the 3D and calling all things, unfavorable, here we go again. Oh my God, I still have this circumstance, or I still have this pattern. Here we go again. What am I doing wrong that this pattern is still here? What am I doing wrong that I can't get rid of this belief? No. Maybe that's the answer for you. To stop putting the focus on the belief. Stop putting the focus on finding out what's blocking and get your focus onto who you want to be. Stop trying to figure everything out. If you've already done that. Okay? You did that. You did that the moment you found conscious manifestation and asked yourself the questions of why I think this isn't manifesting. We've already done that. Now get your awareness on being the self that has the desire instead of trying to find things wrong. That's an identity in of itself. I know I just put a video up recently kind of explaining that, but let me say it to you again. Do you want to be the person manifesting your whole life? Don't get me wrong, we are going to be manifesting our whole life. But I'm saying this particular manifestation that you're hung up on, do you want to be the person still manifesting that thing? Or do you want to be the person that fucking has it? They're two different people, two different identities. So where's your focus? So you want to manifest your desire? You want reality to change? Change where your awareness is. Are you aware of your circumstances? Do you see them as being in the way? Are you aware of all the things you don't want? Or are you aware of who you're choosing to be? The version of you that has the desire. What are you aware of? Who are you? Put your focus on who you want to be, and reality will change. On that note, she's pacing around the house trying to bury a bone, but there's no dirt to bury it in. I'll see you tomorrow.